Okay, this is our first set of notes on it's going to be a combination between chapter 13 and 14 because the ecology unit is split between the two. This one's starting with chapter 13, our sections 1, 2, and 3. This first part's key concept is ecology is the study of relationships among organisms and their environment.
Do you want me to put everything up there?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
It's less confusing.
Ecologists study environments at different levels of organization. Ecology is the study of interactions among living things and between living things and their surroundings.
Like a bear eating a fish.
That's a nice interaction.
Not for the fish.
That's a predator-prey relationship.
Deaths from trout by bears is far more than deaths by bears from trout.
What?
Meaning just trouts don't kill bears.
Yeah.
Because that'd be silly.
Okay, so our levels of organization. We start with an organism, which is an individual living thing, such as an alligator.
Yep. And then we talk about a population, which is a group of the same species that live in one area, like a bunch of alligators in this swampy area.
A community is a group of different species that live together in one area.
So that would be like the alligators and what do we have there? A bird.
That's a great blue heron.
What's that one bird? A hawk?
This is,
A
I
turtle.
think, a herring.
And I think, is there a beaver over underneath that other community?
That's an egret over here, the little white one. Not that anyone can see what I'm pointing to.
That over here. Is that a otter?
Raccoon, looks like.
Oh, okay. Well, that would be
And
a community.
boats.
And boats. And humans.
Okay, so lots of different species interacting and living together in one area.
And an ecosystem includes all the organisms as well as the climate, soil, water, rocks, and other non-living things in a given area.
Yes, and another word for non-living is abiotic.
Yes.
Um,
I think that's soon.
Yeah.
Soon,
On
okay.
the slides.
So abiotic things would be like, Mrs.
Climate,
just said
soil.
climate, soil,
Soil,
rocks.
water, rocks, non-living things.
But those things are going to have an effect on the biotic things. Those are all the living things. Because biology, study of life,
I see
bio.
the turtle
bio.
now.
Yeah, did
Sorry.
you guys not know what I was talking
No,
about?
I was like, there's not a turtle, that's an alligator. Anyway, sorry.
A biome is a major regional or global community of organisms characterized by the climate, conditions, and plant communities that thrive there.
So, what's this one called? Is it just a swamp biome?
I would say like marsh, swamp. Not really swamp.
Everglades,
Marsh.
something like
Yeah.
that. That would be the biome. Wow, I hate you.
That's true.
Okay, ecological research methods include observation, experimentation, and modeling. So this just goes through a brief overview of the different types of observations. Observation is carefully watching something over time. Observations of a population could be done by visual surveys, direct surveys for easy to spot species. So that would be like an eagle. That would be one that you can easily spot. Indirect surveys are used for species that are difficult to track and include looking for other signs of their presence. A lot of times that they'll use indirect surveys for deer in this area because deer tend to hide out a lot of times. So they'll look for their droppings and feet prints to determine how many deer are present.
Feet prints or footprints?
Footprints.
I've actually done both of these kinds of surveys out in Idaho, and I actually did hold a big antenna like that and walk around and look for signals.
And picked up animal poop.
I did, actually. That was one of the way that we could do that in direct surveys, is that identifying...
For what animal?
Their scat is actually what it was called.
I thought you worked with worms, that's why I'm asking.
Oh, I did that too.
Okay, I was like,
I've had lots of...
worm scat? You're like, dirt, yes! So many worms.
No, we did the kind of scat we were looking at is lots of rabbit. We did it during the moose, when moose were mating. And so I remember coming up out of this dry creek bed, and there was this big bull moose whose antlers were like the size
Hopefully
of
you
a
didn't have
car.
to pick up his poop.
I just, no.
gosh.
That'd be gross.
I just very quietly walked back down the creek because it's mating season, so they're very territorial. That was fun, especially when I heard the pack of coyotes running towards me. So
And that's why she's a teacher now.
My class loves coyotes,
they are cool.
especially when they hunt down
I actually did this experiment before. So experiments are performed in the lab or in the field. Lab experiments give researchers more control. Lab experiments are not reflective of the complex interactions in nature. I think there was a question on the last test that said, or I think it was on Study Island, that was basically, which one's more controlled? A whole bunch of lab experiments in the laboratory or observing chimps in the wild.
Wait.
And the thing about the wild or out in the field is you have no control over what enters and leaves your square of PVC pipe.
Keep going.
Or control over the temperature, or control over the moisture.
Rain, sunshine,
you
all
can't,
that.
Those abiotic factors.
Yes, you can't have a controlled experiment because you don't have those controls available.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
What? You can't control nature?
I can.
Hence the 70-degree weather this week and the 30s last week.
Is there? I think there's one more bullet. I'm sorry.
Oops. And field experiments may not help determine actual cause and effect.
Just because it's difficult to
You can't
control and to like nail down what's actually.
Eliminate variables.
Yeah. Okay. Let me make sure I get all the bullets on this one. Okay.
Computer and mathematical models can be used to describe and model nature. Bleh. Models allow scientists to learn about an organism or ecosystem in ways that would not be possible in a natural or lab setting. So, example of this, it's an elephant. Ecologists use data transmitted by GPS receivers worn by elephants to develop computer models of the animal's movement. My class argues about elephants, if it's legal to shoot them.
What?
Yeah.
You can also ride them.
What?
At the circus.
I also did a similar kind of experiment where we...
GPS on a squirrel?
No, it was actually birds. Oh. And it wasn't so much GPS as we were tagging these little birds, but it really was difficult because we were out in San Francisco in the mud. So I had to wear mudding shoes and pick birds out of nets because we put up nets on the mud. Yeah, it's not very easy to do. So it's fun. Yay for science! So much fun. Hey, look! Here's this term. Biotic factors are living things like plants, animals, fungi. Sounds like a fun guy. And bacteria. These are all biotic.
So plants and animals are your biotic factors. They're your living things. And there's a picture of some living things. Is that supposed to be something in yellow? Maybe a floating leaf? I don't know.
I think it's just
cool
a floating
picture.
leaf. Okay, abiotic factors, these are non-living things. We've already really touched upon these.
Moisture, temperature, wind, sunlight, and soil. All of those non-living things.
Okay, so as these things interact together, this is when we get our ecosystem.
And a river is very moist. I just like how it's pointing at the river. It's like moisture. And I'm like, okay.
It's like that's like saying the sky is blue.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Changing one factor in an ecosystem can affect many other factors. Biodiversity is the assortment or variety of living things in the ecosystem. It might also say biodiversity is the number of living things within a biosphere. Rainforests have more biodiversity than other locations in the world, but they are threatened by human activities. So, actually, I just read an article this weekend, quite interesting. They discovered a new type of monkey or primate because of the wide biodiversity in the rainforest. They thought it was the same kind as another monkey, but after they got to examine it because of the seclusion in the rainforest, they actually discovered it was not the same type.
And this is why you don't waste paper, because the rainforest is awesome, and you don't want to kill trees.
You got it?
What about
Oh yeah, sure. A keystone species is a species that has an unusually large effect on the ecosystem. So without a keystone species, pretty much the whole ecosystem will fall down. That's why they're showing this doorway, because the way these arches and doorways are made, whatever. Is it an arch? I think it's an arch for a doorway, right?
Yeah.
But if this one brick, the keystone brick, is moved, it's all going to tumble down. Alright, so keystone species, I know the one that we most love on at the Kansas City Zoo is owls. we love owls, and we always talk about how they're a huge keystone species because they keep all the mice population down, which allows all the other food to grow for all the other animals and things like that. So, eagles and whatnot.
Okay, so keystone species form and maintain a complex web of life. This example is showing you in a wetland ecosystem how the keystone species would be the beavers. Beavers not only will maintain the population of the food that they eat, but they also help with maintaining the river with their dams and allow other species such as birds of, oh my gosh, I just lost.
Waterfowl?
Well, the specific, I can't think of the name of that kind.
Mallard?
Yeah, mallards. That they live in the marshy areas around. The dams allow them to still nest in those marshy areas because it controls the water in the river.
Yep.
My dad kills those.
Beavers? That's
No.
terrible.
No, mallard ducks. Beavers.
All right, producers provide energy for other organisms in an ecosystem. They produce that energy. That's our producers. Producers get their energy from non-living resources like the sun. Producers are also called autotrophs because they make their own food.
Or produce. Or produce.
Produce their own food, yes.
Auto means self. So,
And
self-feeding.
yeah. Yeah,
Anything else?
trophic levels like energy levels. So that's self-making.
Self-energizer.
Yes.
So they're like the Energizer bunnies.
But don't eat batteries, kids.
Will they even know what the Energizer bunny is? They still have
No.
commercials for
Yes,
Energizer.
they do.
Producers provide energy for other organisms in an ecosystem. Consumers are organisms that get their energy by eating other living or once living resources. Consumers are also called heterotrophs because they feed off of different things and cannot make their own food. Because they consume food, they
Yes.
don't make it.
So mushrooms
They don't
are
produce.
consumers because they eat detritus, which is dead
stuff.
and decaying things like tree logs or humans.
Thank you. But we don't have to end on that note. Almost all producers obtain energy from sunlight, photosynthesis, and most producers uses sunlight as an energy source. The sunlight is going to be the basis of almost all sources of energy. It will be where they start at for almost all of them. Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze.
Oh.
I still
Cute.
Okay. So yeah, like humans, we'd be like, where do humans get your energy from? And they'd be like, from the chickens we eat. Where do chickens get their food? From grain. Where do grains come from? From the ground. But where does grain really get its energy? From the sun. Everything goes back to the sun. Chemosynthesis, though, in prokaryotes
Prokaryotes
are producers that use chemicals as an energy source.
Yeah, so think of like deep sea vents. There's
Cave dwelling, a lot of them.
cave dwelling or deep sea where you don't get sunlight. You can still have producers that are using all the chemicals to produce energy. So if you take a
What are
look,
those? They're not geysers. It's in
Springs?
Yellowstone a lot, right?
yeah, they
No,
are.
those
I don't remember what they're
I
called.
don't remember
springs,
what they're
hot
called.
springs? They're not hot
I don't
springs.
know.
No, I don't. They have a specific name.
Oh.
I can't remember what it is now.
I can't either.
Let's
But
take up the next
these-
5 minutes discussing
Yes, let's do it.
6 minutes.
It's got some pretty colors in it.
So,
smells bad,
here,
like sulfur.
the coloration that you see here is actually these prokaryotes that are taking the carbon dioxide and the water, converting it to hydrogen sulfide and oxygen. Okay, and where I worked out in San Francisco, we saw this a lot in... Oh, well, never mind.
What'd you say about
Yeah,
15
70.
minutes?
I thought we had 6 minutes. Oh, it's because it's 20. Anyways, I guess we'll end there. It's not important.
Yeah,
So,
no.
we're done.
That's all for that set.